Hi there, it's Kevin with Roguedeckbuilder.com here with, this is our match. This will be Monoblack Devotion versus the Waste Not in Standard. I've got Zach with me. Say hello, Zach.
Hello, guys.
Zach will be piloting the Monoblack, I'll be piloting a Waste Not. So we're just shuffling some cards here. Again, this is going to be, until we can figure out audio, we're working on an audio board. Sorry about some background noise too, we're here at an open shop right now. So, yeah, so Waste Not on the right, on the left will be, under the rat deck will be the Monoblack Devotion. Now, I'll try to commentate the best. This was recorded a couple hours ago, and it's not fresh in my mind exactly what happened. We can kind of see the hands there. Again, eventually we are going to get cameras to hit the hands and also hit the play area. Apologies for the shaking too. The camera is actually on the table, and these are pretty flimsy tables, so it shakes pretty bad. But anyway, so I play first. I'm going to lead off here with a Temple of Deceit into play. So he just drops a swamp and nothing and back to the Blood Crypt. And here comes a Spike Jester. And Spike Jester is really, really powerful against Monoblack on the play. Not as powerful on the draw, but any thoughts here, Zach?
No, it's a great card, especially with just Pack Rat being in my hands. You know, I have to sack a Pack Rat to it with the low removal that I did start with that deck. But, I mean, basically, you know, we will trade here if we can for...
No, I downfall it, yeah. I remember I downfall this. I don't want Pack Rat breeding. So we get rid of the Pack Rat, and the Spike just gets in for 3. He's down to a 14. That's just the power of Pack Rat. Turn 3 is already down to 14. And a lot of people like Pack Rat in more aggro decks. I just love it in a tempo deck. I think it's the perfect tempo card. And I wish other players would actually utilize Spike Jester in that role.
No, it was definitely a great play, because then I had to go and waste my Pack Rat earlier than I wanted to. Now I have to actually either trade Pack Rat and then hope that Desecration Demon gets down this next turn. So we'll see what Kevin plays.
So yeah, just Young Pyromancer here, and I decided to Thoughtsieze him, get rid of some ammo out of his hand, and I see a Gray Merchant, a Desecration Demon. I believe it was an Unreal Connections that I'm going to take here, or is it a Desecration Demon?
This one was the Desecration Demon,
yeah, Desecration
which really
Demon.
Screwed up my gameplay.
So the Desecration Demon out of the way, I know that I can safely start tacking if he wants to trade with the Spike Jester. You know, he'll be behind at this point. And he decides not to trade with the Pack Rat because he needs to get threats. I'm okay with that play. He's down to an 11. Again, he's not very familiar with the build of my deck at this point. I'm very familiar with the way that Monoblack plays out. So now a Desecration Demon could have come out here, but it's out of his hand. So he decides to chuck the Unreal Connections on a swamp. If there's anything to get him back in this, it will be the card draw.
And I figure, you know, I'd rather trade my Pack Rat at this point and hopefully get some removal so that I could build up into Gray Merchant or anything else.
Yep. But I'm able to draw into the Dreadbore and take care of that. Get another token. Again, this is more of a tempo deck. The Young Pyromancer's getting value, and the Spike Jester's pinging down for 3 per turn. So now he's taking 6. He can't take, I mean, dead. I'm showing lethal next turn. So he's got to find something here. And he does decide to Hail Mary for a draw. Does draw into a Bile Blight there. I can show off the draw, but again, yeah, Bile Blight could go on the Spike Jester, kill the Spike Jester, and then die the Young Pyromancer tokens, or Bile Blight could go on the Young Pyromancer tokens, and then he could cast a Pack Rat here. But basically, there's not a lot of good options. I think Gray Merchant is the best option here to gain 4 life and take him back up to 9. But now, again, I'm going to be able to swing in and kind of negate that life swing, but he's got to somehow try to stabilize here.
With that, with Monoblack, it's a lot of the draw and be able to take care of certain different creatures that are on the battlefield. A lot of 1-for-1ing, but you know, we kind of have to let it play it out to build up our blocker, take a little bit of damage, and hopefully get that life gain back in there.
So I decided Blood Crypt to play tap. I can't remember why. I think I misplayed here. I think that I was going to try to do something with it, but with the mana, but I don't need to actually take the Blood Crypt hit here. Or maybe I do. So tapping 4. Yeah. Here's where I think of it a Whispering Madness in my hand. I think that's what I was debating to do. And now I'm deciding maybe I just want to slam the Keyrune and attack him with everything. He'll block the Pyromancer, take 5, go back down to a 3. And then again, he's in pretty dire straits after that. His only hope is to get into another green merchant. So I'm thinking here what I want to do.
You know, and I'm just hanging on there for dear life with, you know, Spike Jester is probably one of the best plays that, you know, any deck could actually play if you're running red-black.
So I decided to Whispering Madness. So I'm going to discard the cards in my hand. I had a Keranos and a Rakdos Keyrune, two of those that, and I get card advantage here. I get to actually draw one more card because it draws cards equal to the greatest number of cards drawn. I'm going to put it on a token and now force him to block that token. And I'm going to get another Pyromancer token out of this. If he doesn't block, the Whispering Madness one decides to block like a Spike Jester, then I'm going to get another Young Pyromancer plus another activation. So attacking in with the team, and he does decide to go on the Whispering Madness, so he's taking 6, going into a 2. And that does take care of that. But again, he's really got it, now down to 2, he's really got to draw into that other green merchant, otherwise I connect with one token, and he's basically dead.
Yeah, at this point, there was not much I could do.
Yeah, you got a Desecration Demon in hand and what a Bile... No, the Bile Blight went to the bin. So Desecration Demon and a Hero's Downfall. He can only cast one of them, and no matter what he does, he dies to it. So he can try... Right now, the only thing he can try to do is tap the Underworld Connection, the swamp, to try to find a Grey Merchant off the top. And if it's not a Grey Merchant off the top, then it's over.
Which I do. You might as well hope for it, which at that point, the game was over. You might as well play your game out as much as you can until the match is over. So we definitely scoop here, Kevin.
Yep, so going on to game number 2. So what I decide to actually side out here is I'm going to side out all my Young Pyromancers and all of my Spike Jesters. On the draw, they're not nearly as good as on the play. And this is what I guarantee he's going to... I'm kind of showing you what I'm putting in. The Duress is the Notion Thief, or... the Psychic Strikes that I put in. Going to bring in the Soul Ransoms. I'm going to bring in the Slaughter Game. A bunch of stuff that's really hard for Monoblack to deal with. I guess, yeah. And then what I'm going to take out... Yeah, you get a little bit of a view. Far and Away I'm bringing in as well. What I'm going to take out here is going to be the Spike Jesters. Is going to be the Young Pyromancers. Again, he's going to bring in like Drown in Sorrows. I already know that. I expected that from Monoblack. Sometimes they bring in even more. Maybe he'll bring in a Dark Betrayal, and then Spike Jester is a lot weaker at that point. Or he's going to bring in more Bile Blights, and then Spike Jester just becomes a dud. And same thing with Young Pyromancer. Even though I can get a bunch of 1/1s, Drown in Sorrow just completely clears my board. So I might as well take out any sort of aggro or tempo and just go the complete control route. So with Psychic Strikes, with more Duresses, with Slaughter Games, with Soul Ransom to take his Desecration Demons, I'm just going to play take the control route against the Monoblack.
And that's exactly what I was trying to do as well, too, was to get those Bile Blights and the Drown in Sorrows in that deck so that I had an answer to be able to kill off most of his creatures, where at this point I was thinking he was playing some sort of black-red aggro deck. So that's what I was basing my sideboarding in against, so that I could build up to my Desecration Demons and my Night Veil Specters, or hopefully build up Pack Rat as well too, and kind of stall the game out. So we'll definitely see what happens here in a few moments of what I learn now from this next matchup.
Yeah, I like playing the bait and switch. So I baited in the first game. He died to a Spike Jester. So most players would keep that in. They would keep their win condition, what won them the previous game, in. But I know it's not going to be a win condition this time with, like I said, Dark Betrayals, Drown in Sorrows, more Bile Blights, things like that. That Spike Jester will just end up becoming a dud. So shuffling away here, and I'll skip to where we actually play. So he's definitely choosing to play first here. I didn't see my hand there. I think I do have a mulligan coming up.
Yeah, and at this point, with no Pack Rat or anything to sacrifice to Pack Rat in such a hand that pretty much won't do anything, where I'm expecting some sort of aggro play at this point, I definitely choose to mulligan.
Yeah, he just had a Devour Flesh. Mutavault no Thoughtsieze first turn. So he had a Mutavault. And I think I do keep my hand then. I do keep my hand. I know I have a Keranos in there. Or maybe not. Yeah, I have double Dreadbore, maybe? I can't remember. But I have plenty of lands. And maybe this is the one where I had the double Waste Not hand. I'm not sure. So it's so good against the first turn Thoughtsieze.
Yeah, we're no Thoughtsieze. Might as well get Mutavault where he can activate, since I know things are going to come out and hit me fast. Well, I think things are going to come out and hit me fast at this point.
Yeah, so I get to see his hand with the Duress. Duress, I'm not worried about. I'm loving this hand because it's Downfall, Drown in Sorrow, Devour Flesh. I've got rid of all the creatures out of my deck. We get rid of his card draw. Now I know I'm really golden. Just need to slam the Keranos and I should be good.
Now I guess we'll swing here too for, first off, actually do a Thoughtseize so that we know exactly what we're going to play against. At this point, I'm more worried about the aggro coming out. I don't know what's going on with a hand like that, so I might as well get rid of the creature removal so I can play something big in a couple of turns. I'm hoping for Magic Christmas to land and actually draw my hands.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about losing either one of those. I did draw into a bunch of lands there. I think I kept a 4-lander and then drew into more lands, but we draw into Duress, and this way I can get rid of another problematic card. Just the Hero's Downfall would probably be the right thing to get rid of. But now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have got rid of the Drowned Sorrow because the only creatures I have left in my deck are creatures being generated from Waste Not. So it's kind of a dead Duress at that point. It gave me some information. No, they didn't draw anything else. So I was just going to take the beat down path of Mutavault, and Mutavault's doing some work. Some of my life dice I thought was in the camera, but it's outside the camera. So there's my Proxy Waste Not, the one proxy I still have left. And I'll scry with a Temple. So that's looking good at this point.
At this point, drew into another land, so we might as well go in for Mutavault. Make Mutavault work for you as much as it can.
I think I'm down to like a 12 or a 14 due from hits here. From the Thought. No, I didn't Thoughtseize, so probably only I'm down to what, a 16 or a 14?
I think you were at 16 life at this point in time. Because there was nothing, no life lost or anything because of shock lands or anything like that.
See, I'm gonna need some help drawing into it.
I'll go ahead and Thoughtseize at this point.
And there he sees the Keranos, and he needs to take care of the Keranos now.
I'll wait 4 lands, 1 more land drop. Keranos is just a time clock is all he is, or creature removal, which it's an amazing card that will allow him to draw more cards and actually kill creatures if he needs to.
Yeah, and I have no way to actually get Devotion with Keranos, so he's never going to be a creature for Devour Flesh. So, anyway, I decided to get rid of that pesky Mutavault with the Hero's Downfall. I don't know when he's going to actually draw into a card. I do know what his hand contains. So, anyway, I think that I'm stuck with lands now here. And nope, I am going to... Oh, Rackdos' Return. This is the beauty of Rackdos' Return here. Even though those cards are dead in his hand, I don't need them. I don't need to get them out because I have no creatures. I'm going to get a draw 2 cards off Waste Not. Waste Not says non-creature is drawing a card. Land is 2 mana, and a creature would be a 2/2 zombie. So that was the best thing. I think I draw duds, though, here.
At this point, with Monoblack, since we have so much removal in the deck to 1/1, we get kind of stuck on a dead draw.
So again, it's top deck mode. We're both trying to find a solution. Good news is, though, a lot of my top decks, like again, I see double Hero's Downfall in his hand. So if I top deck into another Rakdos Return, which there's 2 more in my deck, it's going to be able to get those out of his hand and draw cards. So I am going to play Slaughter Games, and I believe I named Mono Rule Connections.
Yes,
we'll see here.
At this point, that was my 1 card draw really in that deck that allows me to gain some advantage at this point. With that being out, we're kind of stuck in that top draw mode. And it always kind of hurts at this point, especially with Monoblack, where we have nothing but removal with no creatures coming out. Really, There's not much sideboard for enchantments at this point. So this is such a great matchup for that deck. This card really outperforms Monoblack itself. And Waste Not has pretty much taken over the game.
I think the reason why I named Honorable Connections, I might have some removal in my hand, so I wasn't worried about Desecration Demon. The other card that I could have named was definitely the Grey Merchant of Asphodel, but again, that's not too threatening. I think my life total was high enough. So I just thought, you know, Honorable Connections would be a very hard card for me to deal with. And what do I have in my hand? Is that like a Whispering Madness in my hand? So I'm waiting for a opportune time. He draws a Grey Merchant, can't cast it. It's still 4 mana.
And we got Desecration Demon here. We might as well get a threat on the board, which we can do. Pass our turn.
Yeah, I think I have a Dreadbore in my hand. No, Soul Ransom. Yeah, that's why I didn't worry about the naming like Desecration Demon. So I'm gonna grab this here, and Zach decides what, you had enough dead cards in your hand that you might as well try to get the Desecration Demon back.
That's exactly what I decided. You know, there weren't very many threats on the board. I knew at this point the hero's downfall was sitting there doing nothing. So I might as well go ahead, discard, get my Desecration Demon back. Unfortunately, it gives you card advantage, but it gets dead cards out of my hand.
I'm just going to get a Waste Not there. There's no real reason where, since this is a casual game and there was a proxy card, just thought I'd go get the actual copy Waste Not so we could read exactly what it does. And that's the reason for the whole search there. So I just threw the Waste Not proxy back in. But anyway, so now he does decide to discard 2 cards to it to get back his Desecration Demon. But again, yeah, I don't know if that, hindsight, if that's the right play or not.
It really wasn't the best play. I should have killed it and gave nobody the advantage. I think my thoughts here were, it's 2 black devotion, it's 6 damage. Since he does not have any creatures out that he can force to tap and give Desecration Demon those 1/1 counters and tap him down. So I think that's more of my thoughts at this point, not realizing how much card advantage that Waste Not can give somebody being such a new card.
So Waste Not gave me 2 cards from Soul Ransom and 2 cards from Waste Not, which found a Dreadbore, which now put me way far ahead.
And here we draw our second Grey Merchant, which is an awesome thing, except for this point we have 4 lands. I'm waiting for that card draw to happen. And now, is this where you do go ahead and Rakdos' return me and get rid of my hands?
I think a Rakdos return for a ton here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And this is really where Waste Not starts working great for you.
So you discarded a creature and 2
creatures.
Was it 2 creatures?
Yes.
Yeah, you got stuck on that 4 land pretty badly. And then that's going to give me 2 zombies that come into play tapped. And I believe a card that I draw. A card for the other hero's downfall that was in the hand, or
yes, I think so. Yes, there was the hero's downfall that was in my hand.
And those zombies should be into play.
And there comes that 5th land we were hoping for.
Yeah, so the 2 Grey Merchants could have come out after that, but Rakdos' return.
Again, a card that definitely works for you, and that wins you the game.
Yeah, there's the other one. So going on to game number 3. So I didn't make any changes in sideboard. I don't know. Did you make any changes?
I did not. I figured we'd try to play it out and see how Monoblack would do with more of a removal basis. And so that's why we kind of went ahead and just kind of played it out how it was.
So a little bit of a shameful plug here. If you'd like a playmat, see our nice little playmats on the screen? Those are available for order. So you can go and sport them at your local game store. We actually have a ton of different countries available. You name it, in a lot of European countries we have. And if you actually request another country, I can have it made pretty easily. So definitely, if you're interested in that, shoot me an email, or on my website we have a way you can actually order them.
Now, Kevin, will you go ahead and sign their playmats as well too if they request it?
Sure, why not? I've signed playmats in the past. My handwriting's pretty terrible, though, so just a disclaimer.
All right,
so again, all those playmat donations are going to go towards the studio. There won't be any video shaking when we get the studio up. There'll be better lighting, even though the lighting actually looks pretty good on this. and the audio will be significantly better. Again, I apologize for any background noise there may be. We're here at an open shop. So I see a Waste Not. At least I know that's the proxy in my hand. I also see no lands on either side. Lovely.
Yeah, with one land, not much we can do with mono black. Might as well mulligan. Now, there's no shame in mulliganing down to 5 if we have to.
See, that's a good thing about Mono Black is Mono Black actually mulligans pretty well. And especially when your opponent mulligans, going down to 6 each. I mean, that's kind of what a Thoughtsieze does first turn, is takes each player down to 6-card decks. Or 6-card hands. So I think I decided to mulligan here too, and we just decided to drop to 7 cards for the video's sake. Or do I not mulligan on this one? Maybe I don't mulligan on this one.
I think you mulligan after I do again. It might not be this one.
No, I'd have to mulligan right now. I don't think it's this game.
Yeah. At this point, we get, as our hand that we see it, it's definitely with one land. Not the best thing you can do with a mono black deck. So at this point, we will go ahead and go down to 5.
Oh yeah, I remember this. I kept a greedy hand. I think I have a lot of lands in my hand. And the Waste Not, or I think this is actually going to show you the problem with this sort of discard deck is when your opponent gets out of cards, you have a bunch of dead cards in your hand and no way to actually activate Waste Not. So I remember this game. Yeah, you do go to 5 here.
Okay.
And I believe you see 3 lands and 2 Desecration Demons in this one.
Yes. Definitely a hand to keep. Once Desecration Demons dropped, it's just on a time clock.
That's one of the beauties of Desecration Demon is that your opponent, no matter if you kept even a 3-land or 3-land and 1 Desecration Demon mulligan to 4, you can easily still win the game if your opponent just stumbles for a few turns. I mean, it's a 4-turn clock. Sometimes a 3-turn clock if they have to shock themselves. So I guess you couldn't have. Pretty funny. This is the gonna be my toughest game where you mulled a 3. Yeah, Shrine, 2 Swamps, and 2 Desecration Demons. So I'm in a Temple here, and I think this is the problem is I do get stuck with a ton of lands. I think I left a Keranos on top. I'm not quite sure. We'll see right here what it is. Maybe not. So Waste Not's going to come out here. Took 2 damage. And I'm feeling pretty good at this point. As, again, he draws into another land. So you did, what, drew land?
Yes, I did end up drawing land at this point. Does give me that advantage though where once I start drawing cards I will end up being able to drop things like Grey Merchant. I have the mana available in my hand. Here we get Thoughtsieze.
Yeah, I really thought the game was over at this point, getting a Desecration Demon. And now I've got 2 beaters in the far of from the Waste Not.
This is where we really hope for our removal. Fortunately we do draw it here. The best gameplay at this point so that Desecration Demon does not get tapped down is to go ahead and get rid of those 2 zombies.
Yeah, I don't know. I might have just slammed the Desecration Demon there and then forced me to react to it. Waste Not's a renewable resource. As now, if I had another discard, the Desecration Demon would be gone.
Which is very true.
But I'm getting flooded out, I believe. Scry another land to the bottom.
At this point, we do draw that land. We'll go ahead and drop it.
Yeah, there's the Desecration Demon. Again, I'm on a fast clock if I can't. I believe I've shocked myself and Thoughtsieze.
I think at this point, you were at... what would we... Was it about 16 life?
Yeah, somewhere 16, 14. Again, I apologize for the dice being just out of the camera. So Grey Merchant is 4. I'm going to take 6. There we go. We can kind of see the dying-ish. And I think I'm down to a 10 now, or a 6, or I don't know. I'm really close to dying if I don't top deck into something. And the problem with this, too, is Waste Not will, the creatures, if I do put them, will come into play. And you're out of cards, right? You have a land.
I have a land at this point, which we figured the game was.
Here's the problem right here. Double Waste Not with Duress, Thoughtsieze, and no cards for my opponent. One of the, little spoiler alert, I have this in Modern, and one of my ways to get around that is Burning Inquiry. a card from N10 that makes each player draw 3 cards and discard 3 cards. So even if my opponent is out of cards, then I can still force him to draw cards and then immediately discard them. Now I'm hoping for a reprint of Burning Inquiry or something similar to it in the cons. So Waste Not can actually have that effect, because that, again, that playing a lot of the modern matchups today, which we'll be doing videos on, I was dying a lot to top decks. Top decks are a discard deck's worst nightmare, because you completely get rid of their hand and then you have no way to instant speed get rid of cards from their draw step, and then they're able to cast them in their main phase, and you're stuck with a bunch of Thoughtseizes, Duresses, and whatnot in your hand, and no way to use them. So anyway, I'm hoping for like a man land in the next set or something to give this kind of a, especially since I'll lose Spike Jester. So I guess like Stormbreath Dragon could be a finisher. I flirted with putting Stormbreath in the deck for that very reason. Alrighty, so this is game number 4, I believe.
Now here with Monoblack, we do start with, it looks like we did have the 3 lands so that we could get our underworld connections, so that we could start building up our hand. And
so I'm down to 16 already, first turn Thoughtseize. I do decide to do it. And going to grab, I believe, the underworld connections here. Again, the Hero's Downfalls and the Drowned Sires are still kind of dead cards versus me. I think he's still afraid of the Spike Jester. What, at this point, you still thought I had it in?
I still thought you had Spike Jester in. We didn't see half of your deck for the previous point.
Yep.
So I thought we'd play it out.
Yeah, he's got to keep him in there for the threat of Spike Jester. So that's the beauty of the bait and switch.
And it's the worst thing ever to trade a pack rat with a Spike Jester and not be able to build up your pack rats.
So here comes the Thoughtseize. So awesome. I could get the Nightvale Spectre. I probably shouldn't have just to draw another card because I believe I had Dreadbore in my hand. But since he was like, take my Nightvale, I'm like, sure. But I get a 2/2 at least, which he now has a way to actually use his Hero's Downfall on a 2/2 or, get that out of his hand. That's one of the things is against my deck, you probably want to get it out of your hand just so I can't draw a card off of it when I do Rakdos' return. So Temple Scrying again. I believe I have either Notion Thief or Whispering Madness in my hand on this one. Again, we're going to get those cameras that will actually get hands and whatnot in the future. So around October is when that's going to happen.
At that point, we did go ahead and Hero's Downfall into our Desecration Demon.
Yep. So, oh yeah, but this is a Soul Ransom I had. So that's why I probably shouldn't have cared about the Nightvale Spectre. But since he actually drew in a Desecration Demon, that's pretty cool. I think you learned your lesson this time, and you're just going to downfall it. Not give me tons of a card advantage.
I most definitely did at this point, being able to actually have a creature available with Mutavault. Since I hadn't seen any creatures, definitely go the beatdown route with Mutavault.
Still, though, I'm in good shape. That Soul Ransom cost 2 for 1. Since I grabbed his Desecration Demon, he had to answer it with his own spell. So Rakdos return, I believe, just for 2. And that was your hand, right? And I didn't see what went to the graveyard there. Oh, so it was 2 ins. Heroes down. No, a Drown in Sorrow and Bile Blight or something.
Bile Blight, I think so.
Something like that. And again, Waste Not. Drew me 2 cards, did 2 damage, and Waste Not has already got its advantage back. So it's kind of the card draw engine in this deck. So Mutavault hits me. I do have to figure out a way to deal with Mutavault.
And at this point, it is one of our best creatures where he has to have his instant speed removals.
Did I just cheat right there and put 2 lands into play? Or did you give me a full turn after that? So I Rakdos return for 2. Oh no, then I drew a land off of that, played a land, and there we go. So, gotta watch that, Kevin. He cheats sometimes. Slaughter Games naming. I believe this time I name Grey Merchant.
You did name Grey Merchant. This is probably one of the best things you can do for my deck, where I don't get that advantage of my life gain back.
Yeah, and I was getting pretty low after the Thoughtseize after a couple of Mutavault hits. I was more worried about my life total than his life total. here. And I knew I already got rid of a Desecration Demon. I knew I already got rid of an Unreal Connection. So I knew there were still 4 of the Grey Merchants left in his deck. So to thin out his deck the most possible, that was the best card to name. Unfortunately, Slaughter Games does not make him discard anything, so it's not going to get any advantage from Waste Not.
And here I think I drew, yes, another land.
Yep.
And at this point, there's no point in trying to play off a land as something else because of how much we do end up discarding.
Yeah, you might as well just play your lands rather than try to bluff. So Hero's Downfall goes to the bin. I get to draw a card off of it. So I'm hoping to actually play against the Udo white-black, or not, excuse me, white-blue control list to see how Waste Not performs. It seems like it'll do really well. Getting some Sphinx's Revelation and drawing a card. I'm cool with that. So Notion Thief I decided just to flash in because I believe I have the combo here with the Whispering Madness. But again, with him with 0 cards, at least to prevent him from drawing cards, and I can stop. I didn't want to play that land too because I wanted to get more advantage, but I believe I'm going to Hero's Downfall, the Desecration Demon. Yep, so that's taken care of. And now I'm in a Whispering Madness on my Notion Thief. Therefore, I can draw cards, and I didn't care about, Rakdos Keyrune. And I'll swing in, draw a card, and decide if I want it or not. I can't remember if I did, but I decided to swing in and do it again and discard whatever it was. So we'll see what it is in the graveyard here.
And at this point, with my card advantage pretty much gone, this is really take over the game.
Yeah, it was a Dreadbore, and it's not going to solve a Mutavault. That's why I was okay with throwing it back. So he can still play Nightveil Spectre, but 2 Desecration Demons, all of his Grey Merchants. He has a pack red he could draw into, but not a lot of things he can draw into that Dreadbore is useful against. I'd even say it's not useful against pack red because he just makes another token. So here, though, I can stockpile my hand and actually discard stuff if I don't want it. So any other land is just going to stay in my hand. And again, the lock here is he can't draw any cards off of this. Even if he had cards in his hand and discards them, he doesn't get any cards back. So yeah, so right there I do get rid of the useless swamp and draw an actual decent card, hopefully.
And at this point, Kevin was at 4 life. I know if you cannot see, I'll go ahead and swing in for Mutavault.
Yep, I do remember that.
And I figured I might as well try to play this out, hopefully hope for the best. I should have waited one more turn to see what would have happened, but I was more worried about being able to actually end up discarding a card with his Notion Thief out in play. So you might as well play something at that low of life. I could have went ahead and lost 2 life and drew 2 cards, but then I would only have 3 land open. So this is where I decided to make the play of Sign in Blood him and hope for one more turn. Hopefully he didn't get
that's the 1 card left.
Return.
Yep, Sign in Blood me for 2, make me draw 2 cards. But I mean, that's really going to, plus also your Sign in Blood you could Sign in Blood yourself, and have 3 mana open, then again I'd make you discard them with the Notion Thief. So that probably was the right play. Team me down to at least a 2. But I mean, that's going to give me so much card advantage. And I believe that did draw me into the Rakdos' return for the win. And that's plenty. So 5 and then 8 for the win there.
Yep, and that's what I would have drawn into.
Yep, so that was was that 5 matchups there? So
that was 5 matchups that we did end up going
4 and 1.
Play.
So not a bad little showing there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed these matches. We're going to do one more matchup with black-white tokens. This has been Kevin with Roguedeckbuilder.com. Thanks for watching.